Welcome to Winning Begins at Home. I'm Randy. I'm glad you're here with us on a Monday. Fired up this week. It is what I'm calling back to school week in honor of the guy I met several years ago. I was doing a talk. At the end of it, this guy comes up to me. I've actually shared this story before, 3 or 4 years ago. This guy comes up and he said, I had been talking about the power of books. And the guy says to me, he says, I made a vow when I graduated high school, I was never going to read another book, and I've kept my promise. And I was thinking, this guy, what is up with this guy? He was not very interested in what I was saying about the power of reading. And so in honor of the guy this week, I have brought some books. We're going to call it Reading Week. I've got 5 of my favorites, and I'm going to share this week from each one of these books. I say 5 of my favorites. One of them's a new book that I've just picked up. And it's one I'm going to start with. It's a book called Inner Excellence by Jim Murphy. This book has gotten me thinking about some good stuff about performance, and it's just been good. You may be familiar with the book. Jim Murphy caught a little notoriety. I think it was last year. A.J. Brown was reading this book on the sideline, and I'm like, what is the book he's reading? I found the book and I read it, and it's actually a pretty good book. So if you're going to be in the middle of your job in the third quarter or whenever it was, late in the game, and you're trying to keep it together, this is a pretty good book to help you. Some of you may be in a situation right now where you really do care about personal excellence, and I'm guessing most of you do, or you wouldn't be listening to this. And so I think inner excellence is going to be helpful, especially a little nod, honestly, to our old chasing greatness mindset that we talked about for really a couple years. And I think this book's so good. And so I love his subtitles: Train Your Mind for Extraordinary Performance and the Best Possible Life. Who doesn't want the best possible life? So this week, I hope you'll hang out with us. I got these 5 books. I'm going to share some with you. We may even go 2 weeks on this. We'll see how it goes. But I'm going to share with you some quotes from these books, and I want to give you something every day that you can do, get you to think about. And so one of the things he says, he's talking about performance here in Inner Excellence. And he says, we're so attached to the outcome of our performance that it obstructs our vision and focus. And I'm wondering right now in your life, do you have places where you are so focused on outcomes, so focused on the behavior of your kids, so focused on the appearance of your marriage, so focused on your career or whatever it is you got, you're the perception that everybody else has, that you've lost vision, you've lost focus. This book's been really helpful. And one of the things he does is he quotes Rudyard Kipling. I don't know if you're familiar with the old triumph and disaster quote from Rudyard Kipling, but it's if you're a tennis fan, I'm an old tennis player. If you watch Wimbledon, you'll see every year almost they'll show somewhere or at some point in the tournament, they'll show the old quote that is in the locker room. It looks like when they come onto the court, they see this. And here's what it says. It says, when we can meet with triumph and disaster, think about that, the highs, the lows, you can meet with those two and treat them, those two imposters, just the same. That's the way Rudyard Kipling said. We need to be able to meet triumph, things are as good as they can be, and meet disaster, things are as bad as they can be, and understand that both of them are imposters. It's never as good as you think it is, and it's never as bad as you think it is. And he says, then we won't be seduced as much by the false sense of security that winning can bring, nor will we miss the growth that losing offers. And again, I think maybe some of you right now, you're in a situation where things are going really well, and I'd say don't get complacent. Don't lose sight of the fact that they're probably not as good as you think they are. Or maybe some of you are facing things right now that are really hard. I know some people are going through some really hard stuff right now, and it's actually been a catalyst for them to grow. And it's so powerful when you see that. And so I just want to encourage you to, again, pick up this book, maybe even wrestle today with that thought from Rudyard Kipling, which is quoted in the book. Another couple things I want to share. He says, when we become self-conscious, we want to feel better. So he says, well, what do we typically do? He said, we compare ourselves to others using 5 measures of worldly success that are linked to what he calls the affluenza virus. I heard John McEnroe, speaking of tennis, one time say that his kids are going to really struggle because they're going to suffer from affluenza. A lot of times when we've done really well, those behind us, the next generation, there's a tendency for some affluenza. We're robbing them of the struggle, and we want to, I hear people all the time, I'm trying to give my kids better than what I had, and that may or may not be great. You want to give them an opportunity, but I don't think you want to rob them of the lessons that they can learn. So, but he says when we compare ourselves to others using the 5 measures of worldly success linked to the affluenza virus, and here are the 5: possessions. Have you been duped into thinking that if you have more than somebody else, that makes you more important than somebody else? Achievements is number 2. I think sometimes we just strive to achieve, and we're trying to prove something to ourselves, maybe to somebody else. Our looks, some of us don't have to worry about that, but I think sometimes we're so concerned about the way we look, what others think of the way we look. Our money is number 4, and our status. And it just, man, when he had me right out of the gate, I think this in the 2nd chapter there, when he started talking about these 5 things, because if we're not careful, we can get trapped by these. And so if you really want to pursue inner excellence, I want to encourage you to grab this book. And then one more thing I'll share with you today before we go. He's talking about pride here, and he quotes C.S. Lewis, but here's what he said about pride. He says, pride is always concerned with how you look, how you compare, or how you're perceived. And when we start thinking about how we look, how we compare, how we're perceived by others, pride is creeping at the door, right? Knocking on the door. And pride, the Bible says pride comes before the fall. It always comes before a fall. It's just, we have this arrogance, this haughtiness. We wouldn't call it that. We would say we're overly concerned with ourselves. We want to even cloak it into some kind of, it's okay. It's not okay. Here's what C.S. Lewis said. He says, pride gets no pleasure out of having something, only out of having more of it than the next person. And so, and off you go here with these chapters in this book, Inner Excellence. And it's just such a great reminder. Jim Murphy's got me thinking about some really good stuff. And I want to encourage you to pick this book up. So here's my question for you today as we sort of wind this down. As you start thinking about inner excellence, I want to challenge you to focus on the first word, not the second word. The word excellence is what we strive for, but the word inner that's the important word. It's the idea of inspecting on the inside. That that's the definition of introspection. And we talk about inspections a lot. The government's inspecting everything, and maybe you're in a service industry and you've got inspections and all kind of protocols you got to live by. But who's taking time to inspect on the inside, your inner life? Well, I got a book for you tomorrow that I think will help you do that in a way that rocked my world when I read this book. I think it's it may be the best book I've ever read. It might be my favorite for sure. It's definitely the most highlighted book that I've ever read. And I'm going to share that with you tomorrow. But today, I want you to begin to do some introspection. Ask yourself, have you been caring more about your looks, your possessions, your achievements, your ability to compare to others and impress others? I say we forget that. And honestly, it's harder than it's ever been to go countercultural here. And it's because of the social media world, the technology world that we live in now. It's very hard. But again, I'm gonna give you a way tomorrow to think about this. I hope you'll join us for that. All right, do some introspection this afternoon, this evening, whenever you're listening, and come back tomorrow for more Winning Begins at Home. Love you guys.